Hello chess friends, welcome back to our YouTube channel. So in today's video we shall be taking a look at two unique and very interesting chess problems, and these are very instructive as well because they teach us a lot of things, specifically bishop and queen mating pattern, which very often happens in our game. It's actually something that happens regularly and that can occur very frequently. So this is an instructive practical chess problem. It's white to play and checkmate in two moves. So go ahead, pause the video, give yourself a few minutes and try to find the move that wins for white. Alright, so hope you all pause the video and found the move. There are several moves, but in every single case, black knights, however bad they are actually defending and avoiding mate e2. But there is a way in which we can deliver a mate e2, and that starts with the excellent move bishop to a8. This is a wonderful move. Actually, it's a zugzwang, and this puts black in total zugzwang. Whatever he moves, he's lost. Let's have an example. What happens if he moves? What happens if he takes with the king? So you get to see one checkmating pattern with the queen and bishop. The queen gives a check, controls the light squares, and the bishop controls the dark squares. This is an excellent checkmating pattern with the queen and bishop. Remember this one. What happens if knight takes? This is another excellent checkmating pattern with the bishop and queen. Bishop to a7, and that's a really beautiful mating pattern. A really excellent one. This is like a crossfire. The queen controls the light square, defends this one, and the bishop delivers checkmate on the dark squares. They are always coordinating together. So far we have seen two checkmating pattern. Let's look at more. What happens if he moves his knight anywhere? For example, if he moves his e6 knight anywhere on the board, basically there comes queen to d8. Remember, the knight on e6 was actually defending the d8 square, so wherever he moves doesn't really matter. Queen to d8, and we see another checkmating pattern with the three pieces. The bishop controls this square, this one controls this one, and there's a nice check with the queen. Beautiful checkmating pattern with two bishops and a queen. Alright, let's have a look at what happens if he moves this knight on c7. Then it doesn't really matter where the knight goes. For example, knight b5, there simply comes queen to b7. This time the d8 square is covered by the knight, so we don't really go there. But the knight on c7 is actually blocking the queen from going over here. And pardon me for that. Once he moves, this line clears up, and queen to b7 is actually a very nice checkmating pattern. So in a single chess problem, which is very simple, it's made in two. We saw at least one, two, three, four, five different checkmates, and very unique ones. And this teaches us how the pieces coordinate. After all, it's all about pieces coordination. It's all about how they work together, right? And Magnus Carlsen has emphasized in one of his videos that learning checkmating pattern is one of the most basic thing that you have to do in order to improve, because then you can find combinations that end with mating patterns. You'll just be able to see that in the end there's a mating pattern, and you'll be able to quickly win the game. So always instructive to learn such mating patterns. Well, it's time for our second problem, and this one is really special. So here's our second problem of the day, and this one is really beautiful, and it takes a lot of depth. So white to play, win the game. It's a king and pawn end game, and everyone loves a king and pawn end game. It teaches us a lot of things, and it's very simple. That's how it looks. You can calculate a lot of moves ahead in a king and pawn. So go ahead, pause the video, and try to find the winning plan for white, and make sure that it's not so simple. I'm not going to give you something that's so obvious, so you can just quickly solve it in a second. It has some tricks over here. So white to play, win the game. Go ahead, pause the video, and try to find that idea. Alright, so coming back to the answer, now let's look at the answer. What is it? Basically, everyone who thinks, look at the position, basically thinks you just have to get your king to d7. For example, king e5, pardon me, king e5, king d6, and king to d7 with the threat of pushing. And the point is, if black puts his king on e8, then you can simply go e6 followed by a checkmating threat. Now, isn't that winning? in fact, it doesn't win. So of course, I'm not going to give you something so obvious. King to e5 does not win because of a3, king e6, a2, king to d7. He promotes, you promote, but king takes pawn on f6, and it turns out, well, black has two pawns. His king is safe. If you give a check over here, he's going to go here. He's actually okay over here, and this pawn is also under threat. So black is actually holding here, and it's a draw. So this is not the idea. So what do you play here? It turns out the winning idea is pawn to d5. Now why? How does it change the thing? The point is, it does a very important thing. It opens the a1 to h8 diagonal. Now why is that diagonal so important? Let's have a look at that. So obviously the pawn wants to take and go forward, or just even go here. So he has to be captured. So takes. Now comes king e5. We use the same idea. a3, king to d6. Basically, we want to put our king here, and if he tries to stop it, we have king e6, f7 checkmate. So he can't really do that. He just goes forward to this pawn. King to d7. He promotes, we promote, and the difference is now there is no white pawn on d4. We have sacrificed it. The entire point was takes, and there we have a skewer. That was the entire point of the pawn sacrifice. So to find the move d5, you will have to calculate all the way till the end and realize that you need the diagonal to be open in order to win the game. This is actually very simply winning. Wherever the king goes, we just pick up the queen, and that wins the game. What an excellent chess problem by Leopold Mitrofanov. Excellent problem, and really something good for calculating. I think this kind of problems have little tricks which teaches us a lot of things. So these were the two chess problems I had for you. Recently, I've not been getting a lot of time because some of my really strong students are playing in the Asian Championship. So I want them to be the champion, and I'm focusing on their training, and so am I. I'm doing some other things, but yeah, this I always love to. I see a lot of chess problems, and even if I'm not able to create a video on that, I definitely post the problem, so you guys can always check it out. And until next time, see you guys. Bye.